Hey, so we're looking at this problem. It says solve for z. So in this equation right here, we have -3/2 minus 17/10 z equals -2. So the first thing we need to do on this left-hand side of our equation, we need to get a common denominator. So I'm going to kind of rewrite this a little bit. I'm going to write it as -3/2 minus 17z over 10 equals -2. All right. So the common denominator on this left-hand side, I'm looking for the least common multiple of 2 and 10. So if I start listing out the multiples of 2, I'm going to start with 2 and 10. 2 times 1 is 2. 2 times 2 is 4. 2 times 3 is 6. 2 times 4 is 8. 2 times 5 is 10. 2 times 6 is 12. I could keep going, but I'm going to stop there. Same with 10. 10 times 1 is 10. 10 times 2 is 20. 10 times 3 is 30. 10 times 4 is 40. 10 times 5 is 50. 10 times 6 is 60. And I could keep going. And I'm looking for the smallest number that is the same in these two. And I can see it's right here. It's 10. Righty? So whenever I multiply 2 times 5, I get 10, and 10 times 1 gives me 10. So to get these to have the same denominator, what I'm going to do is multiply this first fraction, this -3/2, by 5 over 5. So 5 over 5 times -3/2 minus 1 over 1 times 17z over 10 equals -2. All right. So this kind of looks a little messy, like, oh, you're changing stuff's not the same. But look here, this 5 over 5, that's just 1. I'm multiplying by 1, so I'm not changing anything about the problem. And this 1 over 1 is 1. I'm not changing the values or anything. I'm just multiplying by 1. This 5 over 5 is still 1. Okay. And it's a rule that whenever I multiply fractions, I multiply my numerators together and I multiply my denominators together. So I'm going to do the same thing over here. I'm going to multiply my numerators together and I'm going to multiply my denominators together. And I'm going to get 5 times -3 is -15. 5 times 2 is 10. Alrighty. This minus sign, I'm just going to carry it down right here. 1 times 17z is 17z. 1 times 10 is 10 equals -2. All right, so now they have a common denominator, which means that I can add and subtract them together. So -15 minus 17z is going to be on my numerator. So I'm going to get -15 minus 17z over 10 because I have a common denominator equals -2. All righty. Now from here, what we're going to do is I'm going to draw my little line here. And whatever I do to the left-hand side, I have to do to the right-hand side. So I'm going to multiply by 10 on this left-hand side so that this 10 and 10 will cancel. But whatever I do to the left, I have to do to the right. So I'm going to multiply by 10 on this side. So I get -15 minus 17z is equal to -20. All right, I'm going to draw my little line again. Whatever I do to the left-hand side, I have to do to the right-hand side. I'm going to add 15 so that these cancel out. On this right here, this plus 15 and minus 15 will cancel. And I'll be left with negative 17z is equal to negative 5. All right, I'm going to draw my little line again. Whatever I do to the left-hand side, I have to do the right-hand side. I'm going to divide by negative 17 so that these cancel out. So then I'm left with z is equal to negative 5 over negative 17. All right. But when we have a negative and we divide by a negative, we get a positive. So these should be positive. So my answer is 5/17. And if I wanted to check my work, I could take that value and plug it back into my original equation here. And I would get the correct answer. I can do it real quick right here. So we had negative 3/2 minus, I think it was 17z over 10. 17z over 10 equals negative 2. And we want to make sure that this is right with this value of z right here. So I'm going to plug in 5/17 there. I'm going to get negative 3/2 minus 17 times 5/17 over 10. All right. One thing I can see real quick is that this 17 and this 17 are going to cancel. So that leaves me with, I'm starting with my left-hand side and I'm going to show that it equals the right-hand side. So I plugged in the 5/17 for z and I see that this 17 and 17 cancel out. So then I'm going to get negative 3/2 minus 5/10. This 5/10, I can simplify this a little bit more and I'm going to get 1/2. So I get negative 3/2 minus 1/2. I have a common denominator, so then I add and subtract my numerators, and I'm going to get negative 3 minus 1/2, which is negative 4/2, which is negative 2. And this matches right here with what I was supposed to get, so then this answer is correct.